The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Gwen Thompkins, host-producer of Music Inside Out, which can be heard at musicinsideout.org. Welcome back.
Thank you so
my
much,
dear.
Peggy.
Hi. Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Howdy,
Hey.
Alan. Hello. She is back. We're so glad we missed her. Poppy Tucker, host of Louisiana Eats on
so happy to be here.
WWNO Radio. And a lot of people kept saying, "Where's Poppy?"
I'm so
you were
happy
missed.
to be home.
You were
Thanks,
missed.
Peg.
And Denise Augustine, owner of Our Sacred Stories Tours and a professional storyteller. She'll be telling us about a special voodoo-related event coming up this weekend. Good to see you. Welcome.
you so
Hello.
much.
Poppy, lots of restaurant news.
Lots of big congratulations. You know how people say, when I was abroad. But when I was abroad, big things happened. The James Beard Awards happened, and I want to congratulate New Orleans' newest James Beard Award winners. Chris Hanna won for Outstanding Bar Program at Jewel of the South. Of course, Chris had won that same award in 2017 for the French 75 at Arno's when he was the bar manager there. So now he brought it home to his own place, Jewel of the South. And Peggy, it has been 10 years since Donald Link's restaurant, Pesh, won Best New Restaurant in America. And so that's why it is a big note to congratulate Serene Mabay, because he brought it home too for Dakar Nola.
Wow.
I am so thrilled for he and Effie to receive that much deserved award. There he is with his mama. He's a good boy. And now, more congratulations in order. And we're going to send these congratulations out to our buddies at Blue Plate Mayonnaise. Because while I was abroad, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungasser proclaimed Blue Plate Mayonnaise to be the official mayo of the poor boys. And so there's the official proclamation. And there was such a party. Of course, there were poor boys to eat. But look at all of the people who were there at the. I'm so sorry, I missed the good food. There's C.J. Charbonnet, Justin Kennedy first, and then C.J. Charbonnet of Chisasi's, Dan Trahunt of Blue Plate, and my favorite, oh boy, there is William Wan, the fourth generation of Leidenheimers.
Fantastic.
And then the congratulations aren't over but everybody, so this is the stuff we missed, but here's what's coming. More congratulations in order to our friends Horst and Karen Pfeiffer, because they are inviting us all to celebrate Middendorf's 90th anniversary.
Wow.
90 years of serving Mama Josie's original thin-fried catfish, because you know that's where that thin-fried catfish thing all started. And the fun starts off, look at that vintage
great
photo.
photo.
The fun is going to get started July the 3rd. It's going to run through the 7th. There's music, food, and fun at both locations in Manchac and in Slidell. So look at Horst. Horst, I'm telling you what, you put a important cultural jewel in Horst Pfeiffer's hands, and he's going to polish it and take care of it for you. So thanks, Horst. We love that catfish. And then another milestone has arrived, which is 20 years of the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. And so to celebrate, our friend Liz Williams is launching a SoFab cookbook. I might mention it's got my gumbo recipe in it. And you can celebrate all this greatness at SoFab this Saturday from 2 until 4 p.m. And then, I know it's restaurant week, but it's half over, and I wasn't going to spend all that time on restaurant week this week, but I'd like to point out that at Boucherie, they are celebrating with a specially priced menu through July. It's a collaboration with Blue Plate Mayonnaise. And Nathaniel Zimmett, my guy, has come up with 3 courses for $35. And the dishes are great, like tuna tartare, Creole tomato salad, chicken fried pulled pork. There's a crab cake with a fried green Creole tomato. And then, of course, you finish it all with Nathaniel's famous Krispy Kreme bread pudding. If you never ate it, here's a good excuse. And you find a meal for $35 for 3 courses for dinner.
Yeah.
Let me know when you do.
Yeah, exactly. No, that is a deal. Thank you so much, Poppy.
Thanks,
it's great to have
Peg.
you back, too. And Miss Gwen, I always appreciate when I come a knocking and saying, could you please talk about your best bets for the weekend? And you deliver. Thank you.
Oh, you're very kind. No, I love it. I enjoy being with you all, you know. But this weekend, actually, is going to be sort of a very eclectic mix of artists. And I'm very tempted to see all of them. And maybe I will. And maybe you will too, you know. But the first thing that I thought was really interesting was the Melange Dance Company, and they're presenting the Upstairs Lounge, featuring the orchestra at the Marigny Opera House. And the Upstairs Lounge, as we all know, was this terrible tragedy in New Orleans history happening in 1973. It was a terrible act of arson at a gay club in the French Quarter on Iberville Street, and it killed 32 people, 31 men and 1 woman, and the assailant, the arsonist, never came to justice, and all. But what the theater company is doing, or sorry, the dance company is doing, theater is your business, not mine, right? But what the Melange Dance Company is doing is that they are recreating that very night and the camaraderie that was happening in the club at on that very night, and some of the personalities and some of the many of the people, when the fire began, they were standing around the piano singing, you know, singing show tunes. I mean, this was going to be a lovely evening, you know, and all. And so what they're trying to do, I think, the dance company with this orchestra, is to sort of bring to life some of the names and personalities of the people who were there that night who've been lost to history. So there's going to be a lot of wonderful storytelling. There's going to be wonderful music. The music director is a man by the name of Ian Orr, hence orchestra with 2 R's. Yes.
Thank you for
And so
clarification.
that's going to be
Okay.
really great. And if you ever want to read a book about this this event, there's a fellow, Robert Fiesler, who did a terrific book on the fire and its aftermath and how it galvanized activism in its aftermath. And that book is called The Tinderbox. Okay. It's a wonderful book. Also on Friday evening, Mahmoud Chouki is going to be playing. And he's one of my favorite string artists of all time. He attracts incredible talent, and because he is an incredible talent. He's a sun, and all of he creates a constellation of stars around him, and he always has people from several countries who are playing with him. He's great. He's a great improviser, and he's really welcoming to everyone. And he's sort of one of those artists who sort of, by the end of the concert, you realize just what how much beauty music brings into the world. And so for an evening like that, you have to go to Snug Harbor, I guess, on Friday night. There are going to be 2 shows then. And then on Saturday, this is a very eclectic night. Judith Owen is playing.
Yeah.
Judith Owen in the J.O. or Joe Sextet, right? And she's a singer-songwriter from Wales, essentially. But in recent years, she's been doing more jazz and paying more tribute to women, and particularly women band leaders and songwriters from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. and all. And she's got a crack band, and they're just about to go and take their European tour, not unlike yourself. And so they're going to, after Chikiwawa, they're going to France and then Switzerland, and then to Scandinavia, and they won't be back until I think the end of the summer. So this is the last chance to see Judith Owen and her Joe Sextet, I'm going to call it. And then also, you know, I talk a lot about jazz, but you know, there's nothing wrong with rock and roll either. And there's a wonderful event. I think it's going to be wonderful. I can't promise, but I think it's going to be wonderful. And it's Sasha Salk and friends who are going to perform, quote, a night of the Strokes at Carrollton Station. And for anyone who doesn't know the Strokes, those are the Strokes. They're not going to be there at Carrollton Station, but Sasha Salk will be. And they were a band that sort of emerged at the very end of the 1990s. And they were, I mean, they're the ones who sort of brought in garage rock, and they were alternative rockers who were extremely sophisticated for what they were doing. And they, I mean, they began to sell millions, and they continued to sell millions. And you might have seen them recently on Saturday Night Live as the musical act, and they're just they're too hip to be on the radar, the Strokes, but they control what's going on under the radar. They're very cool. So so I have to say, I just think it's really wonderful that there's an artist down here in New Orleans who's bringing rock and roll back, to the city, because we've missed it. So that will be Sasha Salk and friends over at Carrollton Station, and that's only one show on Saturday night. And this is again back to the eclecticism of this presentation, but that's what summer brings. This is on Tuesday afternoon over at the old U.S. Mint. There's going to be a radio show, a taping of the American Roots Live radio show, and it's going to feature the Winnsboro Easter Rock Ensemble and the Gullah Ring Shouters. And these are, I mean, this is a not to be missed event. They're going to be talking with Nick Spitzer, the host of American Roots, and these are both interesting groups and who are both have been recently named National Endowment for the Arts Heritage Fellows, and they come from and evoke this tradition from enslaved communities in the South, obviously before the Civil War, who were doing ring dances and ring shouts. I mean, we know them from Congo Square and all. And so the Winnsboro group, the Easter Rock group, they're from Louisiana. They're from, I think, Franklin Parish, and all. But the other group is from the Sea Islands and from the coastal regions of South Carolina and Georgia. They've got a different tradition, but it's also deeply historic, deeply interested, and this is really, when we're talking about it, this is the basis of all, of most American popular music.
And what a deal! It's free. You can actually go to this.
Exactly.
concert.
And so if you love music, then this is the place to be.
Thank you
to
so much.
hear what these people are going to be doing.
Looks very exciting too. Denise, welcome. Your first time here.
Thank
and we are going to talk about this annual event, and we have Sally Ann Glassman to help, to thank for pulling that together, and her group, which you participated. Tell us about what's going to happen on the banks of Bayou St. John on Sunday.
Voodoo's High Holy Day is St. John's Eve, which is the 23rd of June. And for decades, Sally has been having the St. John's Eve ceremony and the ceremonial head washing. It's like a voodoo baptism. And what it does, it's meant to clear your mind, to refresh you. And so every year, she does this community service on the holy day that was actually started by Marie Laveau. She did hers on the lake.
We've got some great photos.
Yeah, we're doing ours on the, we call the bend on the bayou. And of course, Sally is a...
Right by the bridge, Magnolia
Right by the bridge.
Okay,
She's the initiated Haitian priestess that has been in this community for decades.
There she is.
Yes. And so bring your scarf, bring your gifts for the spirits.
Wear white. Wear white.
Wear white, right? Marie Laveau was a hairdresser, so hair accoutrement is always welcome.
Love this
Barrettes,
photo.
ribbons, white cake, white or blue candles, and come and have your head washed, especially if you're working on a project. You know, or if you're in the middle of creating something, this is the perfect time to cleanse your brain, cleanse your mind, and give yourself a holy start, let's say.
Well, I love that very much, this tradition, and, you know, going way back, of course, and more information you see there. And let's talk about you. You have a tour service. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I have a walking tour company. I also do bus tours for things like family reunions or big conventions. And because I was born, raised, and rooted in Treme, I don't know any other occupation that could have fallen on me so easily. I am so used to sitting at a kitchen table peeling 17 pounds of shrimp, and what these women did is they told stories. And so people that are born, raised, and rooted here, I find most of the time natural storytellers. And so I talk about colonial Louisiana, and I give the authentic stories, some folklore, and growing up in Treme. Is what my tour is about. And of course, I'll teach you how to second line.
Okay.
Because you are not supposed to leave New Orleans if you don't know how to bring second line to your community. So there's a section where I teach you the second line.
Well, I'm so glad you could be with us.
Thank you so
Love to
much.
have you back. And
Thank you.
Moving on to Mr. Allen.
All right. Well, you know, it's like in football. You got to have your backfield in motion when you do that second line. Okay. You know, you got to go all the way back to 1994 under the artistic directorship of the late Frank Monachino to see a summer lyric production of Sweeney Todd. And that one, by the way, was directed by the late Michael Howard. This one, however, is directed by none other than John Ray Proctor. Sweeney Todd is Stephen Sondheim's dark and foreboding work. It's played by Austin Adamitis, who's quite at home at his alma mater, Tulane. He's an actor with a beautifully trained voice who also happens to be, in real life, a physician. And who else to take on the edgy role of Mrs. Lovett than summer lyrics mainstay Elizabeth Argus? She handles that role as few others can, especially comes up with this ill-advised plan for stuffing her meat pies. Now, with songs like The Worst Pies in London and A Little Priest, the interaction between Sweeney and Mrs. Lovett is at the heart of this dark masterpiece. And also worthy of note is Luke Bookvault, who plays Anthony. He's one of the most pure voices I've heard with a silvery sheen. This is his debut at Summer Lyric, and I hope we get to see him and hear him very soon. Another great performance is turned in by Alex Page. She is in her Summer Lyric debut as the Beggar Woman. And also in his first appearance on the Summer Lyric stage is Arabelle, who's Joanna. That's her, by the way, the love interest for Anthony and Sweeney Todd's daughter. Beautiful voice as well. The staging is immersive, with the players oftentimes in the aisles, and the choreography by Daniel Rigamer is wonderful. Great lighting by Daniel Zimmer, and a shout out to Lauren Hart for all those wigs and the makeup. Sweeney Todd ends his bloody affair, and Mrs. Lovett stops selling her pies for good this Sunday. Also, finishing its run at Le Petit, this wonderful comedy by Oscar Wilde is The Importance of Being Earnest. Rohan Pamudekar and Noah Hazard take on the two male leads, Algernon and Jack, and it's a play that really pokes fun at British propriety. Jack has his eyes on Algernon's cousin, that's Gwendolyn, who knows Jack as Ernest in her meetings in the country. Yvette Bourgeois plays Cecily, Jack's ward, who Algernon decides to make a play for by taking on the identity of Ernest while in the city. Gwendolyn's mother, Lady Bracknell, is a bit of an opportunist. She's played fantastically there on the left by the delightful Tracy Collins. David Hoover, you'll see him coming up, is playing Canon Chasuble, the rector who fancies Gwendolyn's governess, Miss Prism. It's a wonderful scenic design on this show as well. The whole production's directed by A.J. Allegra in his directorial debut as the artistic director. It's a delightful comedic romp, and while it is a bit dated, lighthearted. It does have a lot of laughs and is a really pleasant diversion from all this summer heat we've been having. The play will also end its run this weekend. Meanwhile, the Sanger Theater is showing that they can do other kinds of theater other than musicals. And last year they presented To Kill a Mockingbird, a drama. This year it's the new comedy Clue. It's based on the board game and, of course, the film of the same title. The Sanger has assembled an ensemble of really fine character actors who carry on the various roles of Professor Plum and Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, Miss Scarlet, Mr. Green, and others. The show runs less than 80 minutes, but it's a very packed one act with no intermission. And you saw it, Peggy. The show has lots of double entendres and more than a measure of puns, but it's all in really good fun.
Yeah.
In the board game, the intent is to find out who is the single murderer. And here's a clue. It's the same here, but there's more than one murder, so you have to be on your toes. Clue finishes out the Sanger's 2023-24 season. Now, next year's season begins with The Girl from the North Country, an interesting musical that uses Bob Dylan's music as a backdrop and as a plot way to advance the characters. Again, this is all the Sanger, and it's Clue. Another of my guilty pleasures, as everybody probably knows, I love Stephen Sondheim, but the one that I love probably the most is that Dark Age musical Assassins. It's about the slayers or would-be assassins of American presidents. It sounds a little bit like Sweeney Todd, but what a terrible idea, you would probably think to yourself. But in this case, the songs by Sondheim and the book by John Wyman really work. And it is going to be playing this weekend and next at the Ancienne Theater. This is the new theater they just opened up on the corner of St. Bernard Highway and Paris Road. So, we want you to know to go over there if you like Stephen Sondheim. It's $12, and they give you complimentary wine and beer.
That's a deal.
And finally, somebody who is well acquainted with St. Bernard, we've set up a date to honor Pat Bourgeois on the NOLA Theater Talk Show a week from Monday on July the 1st. I hope to entertain a large number of her friends and family to talk about Pat's legacy, especially what she did with that ongoing series of debauchery. I'm soliciting photos. If anybody has any, you can contact me through social media or other regular channels. We'll show it all, of course, on all our media, and I hope that people will be there to check that out.
All right, thank you so much. Now time for our Picks of the Week. Gwen.
Oh, well, I'm going to continue with my sanctioning of the Gullah Geechee Ring Shouters and the Winnsboro Easter Rock Ensemble. They're playing again on Tuesday evening with Bruce Sunpai Barnes at the Central St. Matthew United Church of Christ.
Okay.
And so that's one show. It's Thursday night. Thursday night at 7.
Okay, thank you. Alan.
Well, I'm sorry we didn't get to review the complete William Shakespeare that ended its run last weekend. But this Monday, something special at the New Orleans Shakespeare Festival. They're going to be doing something they've never done before. The actors are arriving early in the morning, and they're going to be taking on a play in one day. The script will be projected while the actors will attempt to memorize their lines in advance and do the blocking as best they can. It's called Unprompted Shakespeare, and they're starting off with the Scottish play that you see there, and I'll see you at the theater.
Poppy.
Well, it's New Orleans Restaurant Week, so before you make those reservations, it's hard to find a restaurant that's not participating. Go to neworleans.com for the full list.
Right. And Denise.
Okay, my pick is June 21st, Loa Bar in the International Hotel. There'll be a voodoo ceremony and a head washing, same as before. Please bring your scarf and your gifts for the altar. And come out and have a glass of something wonderful and see your voodoo ceremony.
Sounds great. Thank you. And before we go to my picks, here's Dana Hansel with a preview of the Ralph's on the Park WYES Season of Good Taste dinner.
Hello, I'm Dana Hansel with WYES, and I'm here today at Ralph's on the Park to tell you about an upcoming Season of Good Taste dinner, Wednesday, June 26th. And I'm excited to talk to Chef Knut Menelde, who's going to tell us about the menu. So please tell us what you have coming up for us.
So in June, summertime, obviously the tomatoes are going to be in season. And first of all, I just want to say thanks for letting us do this dinner for you guys.
Oh, well, thank you.
We love WYES here at Ralph's on the Park, and anytime we have an opportunity to offer something to charity or help out, we love to be a part of that. Thank you. But back to summertime. So summertime, hot season. We're going to have a lot of donations from different produce companies. One of the local companies, AJ's Produce, is going to provide us with some delicious Creole tomatoes. So we're going to turn that into a nice soup for our first course. Our second course, featuring local greens, is going to be the City Park Salad.
Yum.
Our #1 bestseller. We wanted to do something that we knew everybody loves. So it's got a little blue cheese, bacon, some apple on there.
Yum.
And then for the third course, Thompson Meats is actually another local meat producer. They're going to be donating some short ribs to us. So we're going to red wine braise those short ribs. We're going to serve them with some chive, whipped potatoes, and a little bit of spring peppers, summer peppers, and onions, garlic. And then for dessert, we've got blackout cake.
Yum. I know it well.
Again, you know, our two #1 hits here, bread pudding, which is seasonal and changes, but our blackout cake is in high demand for our banquets and events all year round. And we wanted to give you the best of what we got here at Ralph's.
Well, you are doing an amazing job here at Ralph's, and we are so excited to be with you. And I know there was a little inspiration from your grandmother.
Yes.
And so that's really nice to honor her.
Yes. So when I was a wee lad, my grandmother, man, she loved summertime. It was her favorite time of year for food. Melons, tomatoes, cucumbers. I remember sitting with her at the kitchen table and just eating cucumber after cucumber from the garden. But when I was a boy, I didn't like tomatoes.
Oh.
And, you know, ever since I've become a chef, I've always tried to cook things that reminded me of her. And I have fallen deeply in love with New Orleans and their Creole tomatoes.
Yeah.
So, of course, we had to do something with tomatoes on this menu.
Well, we're so glad that your wife, now wife, was girlfriend, got you from Tennessee here. And we're so excited for everybody to join us on Wednesday, June 26th. Tickets are selling fast, so go to wyes.org/events and get your tickets today. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you so much.
And we have learned actually that the dinner is sold out. Darn. But go to WYES.org and you can add your name to the wait list, but also see details about the upcoming Saffron Restaurant and Pelican Club dinners that are still available. And we want to wish Al Johnson, best known for his beloved It's Carnival Time song, a very happy 85th birthday. He was recently celebrated at a birthday bash at Cafe Istanbul. And thanks very much to my friend Pat Jolly for this great photo. Now my picks. At the Broadside on Monday, June 24th, beginning at 5 p.m., the New Orleans Musicians Clinic is paying tribute to nurse practitioner Catherine Lesperche, who is retiring after more than 20 years. God bless her. Everyone is invited to the concert. She's an amazing lady. And the people he invited include musicians she has treated over the years. And Margie Perez, along with the Roadmasters, are just a few of the stars that will be performing. And it's free. 600 North Broad. Love that Broadside. And finally, the organization Casa Argentina Nola presents the small jazz band and Alipar, featuring Hunter Bergami in concert. And that's on Wednesday, June 26th at the Contemporary Arts Center on Camp Street, right there. And you can just pay at the door. Well, thank you all so very much. And thank you very much for watching. Good night.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.